I never thought I'd ever hear Eren Yeager be called a simp of all things. If there's anyone that should be called a simp in anime history, it would have to be Obito Uchiha, not Eren Yeager. I'm gonna make this brief because I don't want to make this about Obito completely, but I just want to point out the hypocrisy. But if Eren is a simp, what in the world does that make Obito? Unlike Eren, Obito turned his back on the ones that loved him and the people that he loved. He turned his back on Kakashi, he turned his back on his sensei, he turned his back on Kushina, destroyed the Leaf Village, helped destroy his own people, his own clan, and then later waged war on the 5 great nations. All of this behind a girl that showed no love interest in him whatsoever, but wanted Kakashi the whole time. When you sit there and actually think about it, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think people understand the meaning behind the word simp, and I don't think that's the word that describes Eren. Overall, I enjoyed Attack on Titan as a series. It's one of my favorite anime. I love the journey, I love the emotions behind everything, and I actually liked the ending. Now, I will say there were a few things that got to me, like seeing what could have been with Eren and Mikasa. That kind of made me tear up a little bit because that was sad. Because obviously Eren nor Mikasa, they're not going to have that opportunity to be with each other. And in that dream, they both looked very peaceful. Eren had decided to spend the remaining years of his life in peace out in the woods with Mikasa. For me, I kind of wish they showed us a little bit more than what they gave us with the dream or whatever. Like, it would have been nice to see Mikasa pregnant or Eren and Mikasa raising her first child together. It kind of would have been sad because Eren obviously isn't going to be around to see the child grow, but that still would have been nice to see. And as much as Mikasa loved Eren, I really feel like her having a child with Eren, that kind of could have been his last gift to her. I honestly think I would have preferred her having a kid or two by him than her holding on to that scarf even in old age, taking that to the grave with her. For some reason, that just makes me feel a lot more sad. Something else that kind of hit me in the feels was when we saw Eren and Armin having their little heart-to-heart, their little talk, but Eren breaks down here. And I guess a lot of people didn't like that and thought Eren looked pathetic and called him a simp. But if you paid attention to Eren, he went through a series of emotions throughout the entirety of Attack on Titan. This is definitely not the first time he's shed tears or broke down and lost his composure. But the way I look at it, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but I view it as Eren trying to remain tough and keep up his tough exterior to the very end. And I saw Armin cracking that tough exterior and trying to get Eren to be honest about how he really felt. Now, I do find it interesting that it was Mikasa that made Eren crack, but I think it goes to show just how much Eren cared about Mikasa, just how much he cared about having a future, not only with her, but a future for himself. And maybe that made him realize what he was losing out on. Now, I'd be lying if I said I knew how Eren felt about Mikasa the whole time, because I didn't. But when I think about it, there is definitely some subtle hints that he had feelings for her. Like when Eren asked Mikasa how she felt about him. If you think about it, that's not something you just randomly ask anyone. You don't just ask someone that. You ask that to someone who you potentially have feelings for, and you're curious if they feel the same. There was also the time where I think Mikasa was going to tell Eren how she felt, and they were surrounded and cornered by Titans. And I think Eren stopped Mikasa before she could say anything, because I think if he accepted how she felt at that time, that would mean that they were accepting their fate or something. Or maybe he wanted Mikasa to tell him how she felt under different conditions. I'm not sure. I will say that one thing that kind of bothers me about the ending is the fact that Eren destroyed 80% of the population and it didn't have the results that I expected. I know taking lives is generally wrong, like except for self-defense, but the people they were up against, the Marlians, I felt no sympathy for them. For the innocent people, yes, I did, of course, and no one really has a right to play God, but there is a reason I stood by Eren. I sympathized with his situation, plus the war has been waging forever and it was going to take some external force to bring everyone together. In addition, I was also interested in what this path would leave behind for Eren. I find Eren to be a very interesting MC, as he's not in a situation that he can talk his way out of. What kind of sucks is to find out that even after the rumbling, there was still some dissension, and that kind of had me shocked, but the reality in that is that there will always be conflict, and I think that's pretty realistic when you sit there and think about it. Also, what we got to keep in mind is Eren did achieve something. Eren did achieve his goal of getting rid of all Titans, eradicating all the Titans. There's no more Titans, no more Titan powers, no more ability to do that. And in doing that, he did balance the power system of the world. Not only that, Eren did achieve a peaceful lifetime for his friends and those that he loved and cared about. Eren took on such a huge burden to make all of this happen, and I love how you can see how his mental state changes, how this takes a toll on his mental health. Like, Eren went through a range of emotions, and I love how we can see each emotion clearly. When it comes to Attack on Titan, I love the fact how it started off fairly simple, then it evolved into something where the battle became a fight against humanity. The fight for freedom, at least in my opinion, that remained consistent. Like, there was the fight against the Titans in the beginning, the fight against people turning into Titans, then the fight against the people beyond the walls. I feel like Attack on Titan has stayed pretty consistent with that, at least. And the last thing I kind of want to comment on is how Ymir was bounded to King Fritz because of love. Like, I guess a lot of people didn't like that, but I personally love it because I feel like it's realistic and that put an interesting spin on things. To me, it makes sense because a lot of people will put up with a lot of things because of love. Love is a powerful thing, and it can either bring the best out of you or it can bring the worst out of you. And with that being said, I really didn't expect the connection between Ymir and Mikasa and how Mikasa was used to break Ymir free, but it's really great writing when you think about it, because Ymir, she was kind of a slave for love, kind of like Mikasa. But the only difference was, at least for Mikasa, was that she was able to make a decision that would help her break free of that. Overall, I enjoyed the ride of Attack on Titan. I love the anime. I was a little worried there at one point when everyone started turning to Titans, especially Connie and the others, but it all worked out in the end. The emotion was peak, the journey was peak, the fights were peak, everything was just perfection. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about Attack on Titan. How did y'all feel about the ending? I'm very curious about what y'all have to say and what y'all are feeling. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. Sierra Nova is out.